In the sun-soaked yet emotionally tangled world of the HBO series Euphoria, few conflicts are as raw and resonant as the betrayal between Cassie Howard and Maddy Perez. Their story is not merely a plot about a stolen boyfriend, it is a profound, heartbreaking case study in the psychology of female betrayal, rooted deeply in the treacherous soil of insecure attachment. To understand why Cassie, Maddy's longtime friend, would sleep with Maddy's volatile ex-boyfriend, Nate Jacobs, we must look past simple labels of bad friend or boy crazy and instead dive into the turbulent inner world of a young woman whose sense of self is built on quicksand. Cassie's entire identity is intertwined with the male gaze, a fact established from her earliest introduction, where we learn her childhood was marked by the humiliation of her father and the constant seeking of validation from men. She is a character defined by a desperate, aching need to be loved and seen as desirable, a need so powerful it overrides loyalty, friendship, and even her own well-being. This is the hallmark of an anxious, preoccupied attachment style, forged in a childhood where love felt conditional and unstable. For someone like Cassie, being in a relationship, any relationship, isn't a want, it's a psychological necessity to feel whole and to quiet the deafening fear of abandonment that follows her like a shadow. When she and Nate connect in the aftermath of his explosive breakup with Maddy, for Cassie, this is not just about attraction to a dangerous person. It is a catastrophic perfect storm. She is at her most vulnerable, feeling utterly worthless after her own breakup and a traumatic abortion. Nate, for all his toxicity, represents strength, attention, and a familiar script, a man to care for and, more importantly, a man whose attention validates her existence. In her mind, being chosen by Nate, a coveted and powerful figure in their high school hierarchy, might finally make her feel secure, valuable, and complete. The betrayal of Maddy is not a calculated move but a tragic byproduct of this all-consuming need. Cassie's psychology does not allow her to fully hold the reality of Maddy's pain alongside her own desperation. She dissociates, spirals into denial, and constructs elaborate, fragile narratives to justify her actions, famously screaming, "I have never been happier," while sobbing uncontrollably in a bathtub. This is the dissonance of insecure attachment in action. The pursuit of connection is so frantic it destroys the very connections that offer genuine, stable love. From Maddy's perspective, the betrayal is a seismic event of a different kind, striking at the core of her own carefully constructed security. Maddy, with her fierce confidence and impeccable makeup, presents as the picture of a secure, dominant force. However, her relationship with Nate reveals her own struggles with attachment, leaning towards a more disorganized style, a push and pull born from experiencing love as intertwined with control, manipulation, and violence. Nate is both her tormentor and her trophy, a symbol of status and passion that is painfully hard to relinquish, even when she knows it is poison. Maddy's trust is not given lightly, it is hard-earned. Her friendship with Cassie existed in a space separate from the chaos with Nate. A sanctuary of shared secrets, sleepovers, and mutual understanding of the pressures of their world. Cassie's betrayal does not just give her ex-boyfriend to another girl, it invades that sanctuary and shatters the fundamental safety of female friendship. For Maddy, this is a double violation: the loss of a romantic relationship, however toxic, and the annihilation of a platonic bond she believed was sacred. Her fury is righteous, but it is also layered with profound grief and a terrifying question: if she can't trust her best friend, who in her world can she trust? The psychology of female betrayal here is particularly potent because it exploits intimacy. Cassie didn't just know Nate, she knew Maddy's deepest wounds, her insecurities, the specific contours of her heartbreak. The weapon used in the betrayal was forged in the confidence of their friendship, making the cut infinitely deeper. Maddy's subsequent actions, the public confrontation, the icy dismissal, are the defense mechanisms of someone whose world has proven to be fundamentally unsafe. She must rebuild her walls higher and harder, with Cassie now permanently on the outside. The dynamic between them becomes a painful dance of projection and mirroring. Cassie, in her anxious spiral, projects her need for validation onto Nate, seeing him as her salvation. Maddy, in her rage, projects her feelings of betrayal and violation onto Cassie, making her the sole villain, which is simpler than untangling the complex web of pain Nate has woven around them both. Yet, in a cruel twist, they are mirrors for each other's deepest insecurities. Cassie reflects back to Maddy her own fears of being replaceable and not being enough. Maddy reflects back to Cassie her profound lack of self-worth and the consequences of seeking validation in empty places. Their conflict is so visceral because it is not really about Nate at all. He is merely the catalyst, the prize in a contest neither girl can win. The real battle is internal, waged within their own psyches: Cassie's war against her void of self-love, and Maddy's war to protect her fragile sense of power in a world that constantly seeks to undermine it. The betrayal exposes how both young women, shaped by patriarchal expectations and their own traumatic histories, have been pitted against each other in a competition for male attention that ultimately serves neither of them. They are fighting over a symbol of security, Nate, who is himself the source of profound insecurity, while their friendship, which could have offered a genuine, nurturing bond, lies in ruins. Ultimately, the story of Cassie versus Maddy is a tragedy of unmet needs and misplaced search parties. It illustrates with brutal clarity how insecure attachment styles, when left unexamined, can lead us to betray our closest allies in a starving quest for love. Cassie's betrayal is a cry for help, a malfunction of her psychological wiring that tells her romantic love is the only medicine for her pain. Maddy's devastation is the consequence of that malfunction, a scar on the trust that binds friendships together. Euphoria uses the heightened drama of their situation to show a universal truth. Our earliest blueprints for love dictate how we navigate all our future relationships, romantic and platonic. When those blueprints are faulty, built on instability, fear, or inconsistency, we often find ourselves hurting the people we care about most, chasing ghosts of validation that leave us emptier than before. The psychology of their fallout is a cautionary tale about the importance of building a sense of self that is independent of who chooses us, and about the sacred pact of female friendship that, when honored, can be the most secure base of all. In the end, as we watch Cassie unravel and Maddy harden, we are left hoping not for a simple reconciliation, but for the deeper healing each girl desperately needs, a healing that can only begin when they look inward, not at each other or at any boy, to find the worth and security they have been searching for in all the wrong places. Their story is a messy, painful, and brilliantly articulated map of how heartbreak travels, from the family home to the friendship circle to the lover's bed, and how the wounds of the past forever shape the battles of the present.